Hello friends, today we are going to see how we can plot a 3D graph on origin of the different kind of data. For example, it can be for the UV visible spectroscopy where you can have a data of the intensity and the wavelength, and also it can be for the XPS, that is X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy, we have usually voltage and the intensity plot, or we can also have some electrochemistry data. So here, for example, I have a data of the XPS where I have like 3 samples, and I have on the x-axis I have plotted the voltage which varies, and we measure the intensity of the samples, intensity of the peaks, and also I have written this y column which is the pH, which is the pH at which the samples were prepared. So this is I have written 2 because for this whole sample the pH was 2, so I have just dragged this 2 on the whole column. Then we have the data for the second sample where again we have the voltage and we have the intensity, and this sample was prepared at pH 4, so I have written 4 on the y-axis all the way to the down. And then the third sample which has this voltage and the intensity, and it is prepared at the pH 6, so I have added the third column as the y column, and the pH is mentioned 6 throughout this column. So the main thing is that in order to plot a 3D graph, we must have the 3 parameters. Usually x and y are the 2 parameters that are given in most of the results like XRD, XPS, and UV visible spectroscopy, etc. But there can be a third parameter, such as if you have prepared your samples at different pHs or at different temperatures, like that. So in such cases you can plot a 3D graph, which seems very nice in publications, in writing a paper, or in writing a thesis. So here I want to plot a 3D graph for this data, and I can first show you how it looks like a 2D graph. Maybe I have it here like this. For a 2D graph, it looks like this one, where we have different samples of the XPS. But now you will see that it will be looking great when we plot a 3D graph of the same samples. So here is the data. We just need to select one thing we need to make sure before plotting is that for this 3D graph we have the y-axis which have the same values for these columns for one sample, and we have to label this one as set as x-axis, and this one as set as y-axis, and this one as set as z-axis. So this is the same for the sample 2 and for the sample 3. So now the next step is that we select all these columns and we go to the plot, and here we have options 3D X, Y, Y, which is not required here. We want to plot a 3D X, Y, Z, and we usually select this 3D scatter option, and here we have a 3D plot of our data. Now you can modify it as per your requirement. Here you can see intensity of the samples. Here we have voltage, and here we have the pH. You can also replace these dotted lines with the plain line if you want, and by right clicking on the data and plot details, you just simply go to the line and you click on this connect lines, and this is the solid line, and you can increase the bit. Let's suppose I do it 4, and I apply it, and it connects these dots. And if you want to remove these dots and you want to see only the plain line, you just remove the symbol to 0 and apply it. So it will be more good and appealing to look, and you can similarly convert this dotted line into the plain lines as well. So here it is, the 3D plot of your data. Thank you.